Have you ever met someone everyone called a failure, only to discover they were the one person capable of doing what the world's greatest experts couldn't? Today's story is about a proud female billionaire, a mysterious Ferrari that had defeated the finest engineers for 5 long years, and a quiet single father whose worn-out toolbox carried a secret worth more than an empire. Stay until the very end, because every insult, every laugh, and every impossible challenge leads to a twist no one sees coming. And before we begin, if you enjoy emotional stories filled with powerful life lessons, incredible comebacks, and unforgettable characters, take a moment to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and tell us in the comments where you're watching from. Your support helps us bring more inspiring stories like this one every week. Now, let's begin. The morning sun stretched across the glass towers of Silver Crest Motors, reflecting off polished marble walls and rows of exotic supercars worth tens of millions of dollars. Employees rushed through the lobby with tablets in their hands while journalists gathered outside the entrance, hoping to catch a glimpse of the company's legendary CEO. At exactly 8 o'clock, a matte black Ferrari transporter rolled through the security gate. Cameras instantly turned toward it. Inside the executive garage waited Victoria Ashford. At 36 years old, Victoria had built one of the world's fastest-growing luxury automotive technology companies. She had inherited almost nothing except a struggling repair shop from her late father. Through relentless determination, brilliant investments, and fearless decisions, she transformed that tiny garage into a billion-dollar empire that restored and engineered some of the world's rarest automobiles. Business magazines called her the Iron Queen of Supercars. Her competitors called her unstoppable. Her employees simply called her Ms. Ashford. She accepted neither excuses nor failure. Today, however, something unusual darkened her expression. The transporter slowly lowered its cargo. There it was. A breathtaking Ferrari unlike anything most people would ever see. Its crimson paint still gleamed beneath the lights. Its body looked flawless. Its leather interior appeared untouched. Yet everyone in the garage knew the ugly truth. The car had become a curse. For 5 years, it refused to run correctly. It started only when it wanted. Sometimes it accelerated perfectly. Sometimes it shut down without warning. Entire electrical systems had been replaced. The engine had been rebuilt twice. Ferrari specialists from Italy had examined it. Independent engineers from Germany had tried. Formula racing technicians had investigated every sensor. Software experts rewrote its control systems. Nothing worked. Millions of dollars disappeared into failed diagnostics. The owner, an aging collector named Richard Harlow, had nearly given up hope. Victoria refused to surrender. "This Ferrari will leave here running," she declared confidently to her engineering team. One nervous technician hesitated. "We've already spent another 4 months testing everything." "Then test harder. We've exhausted every factory procedure." Victoria folded her arms. "Then invent a new one." Nobody answered. Because deep inside, they feared something impossible. Maybe this Ferrari simply could not be repaired. Across town, life looked completely different. Daniel Brooks parked his faded pickup truck beside a small neighborhood auto shop squeezed between a bakery and an old hardware store. The paint on the truck had almost disappeared. The driver's seat had been stitched together by hand. One headlight looked newer than the other because Daniel had replaced it using spare parts from a scrapyard. He stepped out wearing worn denim jeans, work boots, and a gray mechanic's shirt with grease stains that never completely washed away. He wasn't ashamed. Those stains had paid rent. Those stains had bought groceries. Those stains had kept his little family alive. Inside the truck sat his 11-year-old daughter. Emma Brooks smiled despite wearing an old backpack that had been repaired several times. "Dad?" "Yeah. You forgot your lunch again." She reached across the seat and handed him a paper bag. Daniel laughed softly. I guess I would have been hungry without my favorite assistant. You always forget when you're thinking. I do. She looked at him carefully. Were you thinking about Mom again? His smile faded only for a second. A little. Emma squeezed his hand. I miss her too. 5 years had passed since cancer had stolen Daniel's wife. Since then, every morning began with making breakfast, packing school lunches, fixing cars, paying bills, helping with homework, and pretending everything would somehow be okay. He never complained. He simply kept moving. Because fathers don't always have the luxury of stopping. Emma suddenly reached into her backpack. I made you something. She unfolded a crayon drawing. It showed the two of them standing beside their old pickup truck. Above them were the words. My dad can fix anything. Daniel stared silently. The drawing was simple. Crooked lines. Bright colors. A smiling sun. Yet it felt more valuable than every luxury car in the city. He carefully folded it and placed it inside his shirt pocket. I'll keep this forever. Emma grinned. I know. When she walked toward school, Daniel waited until she disappeared through the front doors before entering his shop. His garage wasn't famous. It wasn't glamorous. Old shelves leaned against cracked walls. Tools hung neatly despite decades of use. There were no expensive scanners. No giant computer systems. No marble floors. Only experience. Only patience. Only skill. Customers trusted him because he never replaced parts that didn't need replacing. He listened. He observed. He solved problems. Many mechanics called him old-fashioned. Daniel simply believed machines always told the truth. You just had to know how to listen. Around noon, an elderly customer arrived driving an aging sedan. It stalls every morning, the man explained. Daniel didn't immediately connect a scanner. Instead, he listened. He asked questions. He started the engine. He closed his eyes. The customer looked confused. What are you doing? Hearing what it's trying to say. After several minutes, Daniel smiled. It's not your engine. It isn't? No. What is it? A loose ground hidden behind the dashboard. The customer blinked. No computer? I don't need one. 20 minutes later, the car started perfectly. The old man shook his head. I spent 2 weeks at another shop. Daniel shrugged. They probably looked where computers pointed. And you? I listened. Word slowly spread around the neighborhood. Not because Daniel advertised. Because impossible problems somehow found their way to his garage. A week later, another customer arrived towing a vintage European sports car. 3 repair shops had failed. Daniel fixed it before sunset. Soon another impossible repair appeared. Then another. He never bragged. Never posted videos. Never chased attention. Meanwhile, inside Silver Crest Motors, pressure continued building. Victoria's reputation had become attached to the Ferrari. Investors quietly questioned her. Automotive blogs mocked the endless repair attempts. Social media exploded with comments. If billion-dollar engineers can't fix it, maybe it's impossible. Another millionaire throwing money at problems. Sell it for parts. Victoria ignored every headline. Failure wasn't part of her vocabulary. Late one evening, after another unsuccessful testing session, she stood alone inside the garage. The Ferrari rested silently beneath white lights. She slowly walked around it. There has to be something everyone missed. Her chief engineer entered. We've completed another thermal scan. And? Nothing. The wiring? Perfect. Fuel delivery? Perfect. The engine? Perfect. Victoria slammed a wrench onto the workbench. Then why won't it stay alive? Silence answered. For the first time in years. She doubted herself. Not because of the Ferrari. Because she had built an entire empire on solving impossible problems. If she couldn't solve this one, what did that say about her? The following Saturday, Emma convinced Daniel to visit the city's annual community car show. Classic Mustangs. Vintage Corvettes. Modern Lamborghinis. Restored muscle cars. Families laughed together while children climbed into display vehicles. Daniel almost declined because work waited at the garage. Emma smiled. You promised we'd spend one Saturday together. He couldn't argue with that. As they wandered through the event, Emma admired every shiny sports car. Dad. If money didn't matter. What? What car would you want? Daniel smiled. I already have my favorite. Our truck? Our truck. She laughed loudly. No, seriously. He glanced toward a beautiful red Ferrari displayed near the center stage. That one. Emma noticed the expression on his face. You really like Ferraris. I do. Why? They're not just fast. What are they? They're conversations between engineers. Emma tilted her head. I don't get it. You will someday. Unknown to both of them, someone standing only a few feet away overheard every word. A sharply dressed woman wearing sunglasses paused beside the Ferrari display. It was Victoria Ashford. She had attended the event quietly, hoping to escape reporters for a few hours. Instead, she noticed an ordinary mechanic explaining engineering with remarkable respect rather than showing off. Interesting, she thought. Before she could walk away, the event announcer grabbed a microphone. Ladies and gentlemen. We have a fun challenge today. Any mechanic willing to identify the mystery fault in our demonstration engine wins $5,000. Several experienced technicians eagerly stepped forward. Daniel kept walking. Emma tugged his sleeve. Dad. No. Please. I didn't come here for contests. You always tell me to believe in myself. He smiled. You're using my own advice against me. She nodded proudly. It works. Daniel sighed. One look. He stepped toward the demonstration engine. The crowd barely noticed him. Compared to mechanics wearing expensive uniforms, his faded work shirt looked almost embarrassing. Someone whispered. Looks like he repairs lawnmowers. Another laughed quietly. Victoria watched without saying a word. She had spent years judging people by results rather than appearances. Still. This man didn't exactly look extraordinary. The contest judge explained that dozens of professionals had already failed to identify the hidden issue. Daniel circled the engine once. He didn't touch it. Didn't plug in any equipment. Didn't ask for technical documents. He simply watched. Then he leaned closer. Listened. Smelled the exhaust. Touched one mounting bracket. Exactly 30 seconds later, he looked at the judge. The fault isn't inside the engine. Several mechanics chuckled. The judge crossed his arms. Oh. It's vibrating against the test stand because one support mount is 6 mm shorter than the others. Under load, it twists just enough to create a false ignition fluctuation. Silence. One official measured the mounts. His eyes widened. 6 mm. Exactly. The crowd erupted into shocked applause. Victoria slowly removed her sunglasses. For the first time in 5 years. Something about this quiet single father made her wonder whether the impossible Ferrari had finally met the one person capable of understanding its secret.